Oh hi. So there's really no way for this to not come off as weird and stalkery. But I promise that's not my intention. This is entirely on the level, which I realize is exactly what a stalker would say. Or an elevator operator. Here's the thing. You might recall a video, well, a couple of videos actually, that I made about the film Call Me By Your Name. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a film about a teenager who falls in love with his father's teaching assistant and the affair they have with each other. It's very gay, in the classical sense, meaning carefree. Also, it's very gay in the modern sense, meaning extremely homosexual. The film stars Armie, you know, that guy who was supposed to be the next big thing 6 years ago. And it also stars Timothée Chalamet, although I think it's probably more correct to pronounce it Timothée Chalamet, but my French is broken. He's a relative newcomer, although he was in both this film and Lady Bird last year, and will be in a new movie this fall called Beautiful Boy, which on paper sounds like it's destined for Oscar nominations. So the two videos I made were seen by a lot of people, at least for me, and if you check out the comment section, you'll see just a bunch of people willing to talk about that movie in depth. They ask about plot points, about acting choices, and occasionally accuse Armie Hammer's character of being a predator. Now, it's doubtful that Timothée wants to be asked questions about LEO for his entire life. Actors normally cringe at that sort of thing. But hear me out on this. This is not a channel where I fawn over the new hotness or whatever the latest fad is. Okay, once I talked about pogs, but everyone has those choices in the past that are mortifying to them now. Right, Chris Gaines? All the jokes I've made so far, a 22-year-old would never get. I'm not making my case very well. Alright, enough fooling around, except one last thing. Let me tell you this. According to imdb.com, the following are nicknames for Timothy. Timo, Timmy, Tim, Timmy T, Little Timmy Tim. All names I use while trying to become a rapper. Listen, I'm not above riding on somebody else's coattails. I'm not all that talented. You know it. I know it. The whole world can see that. But what I will give myself credit for, and something that I only really discovered recently, is that I give good interview. That came out weird. What I mean is that I can interview people fairly well. I'm in the process of creating not one, but two different podcasts. Each of them has me interviewing a different guest on each episode. These include local artists, entrepreneurs, and people from around the world. And Timothée Chalamet just happens to be someone from around the world. He knows multiple languages, has worked with a bunch of high-profile directors, comes across as kind of a dork on the late night talk shows I've seen him on. In short, he seems like a fascinating person, and I love talking with fascinating people. This doesn't have to be filmed. It could be done over the phone, 20 minutes or longer or shorter. I'm not picky. All I'm asking is to be introduced to his publicist, Nicole Caruso, to set it up. Again, that's on IMDb. This information is very easily accessible. What wasn't easily accessible was finding out his favorite color is chartreuse, his favorite meal is French onion soup, and his favorite city is Huntington, West Virginia. I mean, none of that is true, probably. I just made it all up. But see, that's the type of things we could find out together. Is this going to happen? No, absolutely not. But I do believe in putting this type of stuff out into the world because you never know. Except in this situation, I know this will never happen. So because of that, let me try out my first 3 questions, and you, the person watching this, can answer down in the comments. Timothée Chalamet, thank you so much for joining me. I know I'm probably mispronouncing your name. Can you forgive me?
There's no peach jokes. There's no peach jokes.
Really?
There's a peach, and in life, one has to explore.
Really?
I'm worried, like, 50 years from now, I'll be, like, signing peaches behind a desk.
Okay, so those were my first 3 questions. Let's do 3 real questions. Enter these below. Where were you born? What did your mother and father do? What's your first ever memory? And of course, based on conversation, I would have follow-ups to all of those. What I've discovered about interviewing is that if you're a curious person like I am, everybody becomes fascinating. Assumptions you make often melt away. Life experiences are different for the people you're talking with. People's lives twist and turn. Sometimes your dad decides to become a birthday clown. True story about someone I recently talked to. And through all of that, it shapes the person's worldview, pushes them towards certain decisions, and helps connect the dots to where they are now. Long-form interviews have been a favorite of mine for quite a while. It allows a deeper connection to happen and empathy to thrive. It's more than the few minutes of fluff you normally get on late night talk shows now. I want to know more about you, besides that your new blockbuster is about to come out. Tell me about a time you truly struggled with something. Right now, we're in this moment where people don't want to listen to one another. We're content to stay in our bubbles and believe that anyone who disagrees with us is evil. By really listening to another person's story, we can understand them better. We may still disagree, but we will have to confront the fact that they are human. So look forward to those podcasts that should be going live sometime in the next couple of months. And also look forward to my interview with Timothée Chalamet, never happening. Or it could, but it won't. Although you never know. I do though. If you could interview anyone, alive or dead, who would you pick? Let me also know that down in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll talk again on Monday.